Hello everyone, my name is Bharti and I'm working as an assistant professor in IIMT College of Pharmacy. So today I'll be delivering a video lecture on the topic lipids. So let's start the video lecture. First we should know what are lipids. Lipids are essential constituent of the diet because they are source of high energy value. I want to share one more fact that the lipids provide more energy, which is a double energy as compared to carbohydrate. The term lipid was first introduced by the German biochemist Bloor in 1943. Lipids are organic compounds that contain hydrogen, carbon, and oxygen atoms that form the framework for the structure and function of living cells. So lipids are fatty, waxy, or oily compounds which are soluble in organic solvent and insoluble in polar solvents such as water. Organic solvent which is benzene, right? So lipids include fats and oils, phospholipids, etc. Lipids are also important because of the fat-soluble vitamins, which are A, D, E, and K, an essential fatty acid found in the fat of natural foods. Next, if we talk about the biological roles of lipids, lipids serve as an efficient source of energy when stored in adipose tissue. They are component of cell membrane and are concerned with the phenomena of cell permeability and cell organization. They help in transport the fat-soluble vitamin A, D, and K. So how they transport the vitamins? The fat-soluble vitamins become packed into chylomicron. Then chylomicron are metabolized by lipoprotein lipase, which causes the release of fat-soluble vitamin into tissue for use as storage. So what are chylomicron? These are the type of lipoproteins which contain a large amount of triglyceride and small amount of cholesterol, and they carry them throughout the liver and peripheral tissue. So next role of lipids will be they are essential for blood clotting in the form of phosphatides of blood platelet in the production of thromboplastin activity in blood clotting. They are maintaining cellular integrity in the form of lipids such as lipoprotein and glycolipids. The PUFA, which is polyunsaturated fatty acid, is essential for maintaining of metabolic process because of the inability to synthesize PUFA. So they are required in the form of diet like essential fatty acids. Next, cholesterol. It plays a big role in our body, which is serve as an abundant constituent of the brain, spinal cord, and nerves. They form a insulating material for electrical conduction. Carotene is a precursor product of vitamin A, therefore they are essential for vision formation in our body. So if we talk about the food sources of lipids, lipids or fats are macronutrients that are important in human nutrition as we all know. They are found mainly in dairy foods, meats, as well as other foods. Rich sources of dietary fat include soybean, nuts, seeds, olives, avocado, which contain essential fatty acids. So, contrary to common assumption, lipid are its essential component of our diet and a minimal intake is required. Now, if we talk about the intake of lipids, they are essential for our diet and a minimal intake is required. However, an excessive intake of dietary fat is linked with a variety of health issues, which can be of cancer, obesity, heart disease. So, we should take them in a minimal quantity. Now, about the classification of lipids. Lipids, as you can see in this flow chart, this so it is of basically of three types: simple, compound, and derived. What are simple lipids? Simple lipids are extra fatty acid with an alcohol in its structure. Further classification of simple lipids will be fats or oil, and waxes. Fats and oils basically triglycerides. These are ester of fatty acid with glycerol, and wax are ester of fatty acid with higher alcohols. Okay, these are the examples. Fats and oils examples are triglycerides, symmetric triglyceride, mixed triglyceride. And for the waxes are sperm whale wax, beeswax, carnauba wax. So next is compound lipids. Compound lipids are ester of fatty acid containing groups in addition to alcohol and fatty acids in its structure. So first will be a subclass is phospholipid. Phospholipid contain a phosphate group in its structure, which is an additional group rather than fatty acid and glycerol or alcohol. So examples are phosphoglyceride, lecithin, sitalins, and one of the examples is glycophospholipids, which present in cell membrane. Sphingophospholipids are present in myelin sheath. So next subclass is glycolipids. Glycolipids contain fatty acid with sphingosine and carbohydrate. And the third subclass, which is not present in this flow chart, which is lipoprotein. Lipids which are conjugated with the proteins are called lipoprotein. They are found in milk, eggs, and blood. Example of lipoproteins are LDL, low density lipoproteins, which are harmful for our body in the excess amount, and HDL is high density lipoprotein. Further, third classification is derived lipids. Derived lipids are lipids which are produced by hydrolysis of simple and compound lipids. The examples are steroids, terpenes, carotenoids, cholesterol, right? So this was the classification for lipids. Next, the structure of lipids, which is a triglyceride. Triglycerides are the ester of fatty acid with glycerol. They are best preserved food materials in the human body. They act as insulator for loss of body heat. So triglyceride plays a big role in our body. The bonds between, about the bonds, it will be easy if I'll show you the structure. The bonds between the molecules are of ester, right? They are ester bond. If we talk about the ester, what is the formula? Which is RCOOR. Okay, as you can see, this is an ester. So, chemical structure of triglyceride consists of 3 different molecules of fatty acid and 1 molecule of glycerol. This is the 3 fatty acid with addition of 1 glycerol forms triglyceride. So, about the properties, they are insoluble in water and soluble in organic solvents such as ether, chloroform, benzene. Their melting point is low. Triglyceride on hydrolysis. Now, this is a reverse reaction also. When we do the hydrolysis of triglyceride, it will again give back the 3 fatty acid and glycerol. So, this is a reverse reaction. Next, food is one source of triglyceride. Your liver also makes them. When you eat extra calories, especially carbohydrate, your liver increases the production of triglyceride. When you consume or your body creates excess triglyceride, they are stored in fat cells for later use as in a fuel. So when the body needs it, they will consume the fuel by body movement, create heat and provide energy for body process. For good health, the triglyceride level should be less than 150 mg per deciliter. and the borderline will be 150 to 199. But if it will be higher, the triglyceride level should not be higher than 200, or if this will proceed, then you can be seen having a variety of health issues. Next, this is the structure that I have already explained to you. This is a one molecule of cholesterol react with the three molecular fatty acid, and the water molecule are released by this reaction, and by esterification it will produce the triglyceride. Next, physical properties of triglyceride. It is called fat if it is a solid at 25 degrees Celsius, and called oil if it is a liquid. So this is the basic difference between a fat and oil. As you already understood, the fat is called due to the presence of the solid, right? It means the structure is not in a liquid form. That is why it is called a fat. Okay, when a triglyceride is solid at a room temperature, it is called fat. When it is a liquid in a room temperature, then it is called oil. So these difference in melting point reflects the difference in the degree of unsaturation also. Unsaturation is the number of carbon atom and constituent of fatty acid. The triglyceride obtained from animal sources are usually solid, while those of plant origin are generally oil. So, if we speak animal fat and vegetable oil, we never say animal oil or vegetable fat. Okay, so this uh, characteristic of fats and oil are colorless, odorless, and tasteless. Basically, the characteristic colors, odors, and flavors that we associated with some products are imparted by foreign substances that are lipid soluble and have been absorbed by them. Right. So, this is about the characteristic. For example, yellow color of butter is due to the presence of a pigment, carotene. So, triglycerides are poor conductor of heat, electricity, and therefore serve as an excellent insulator for the body, slowing the loss of heat through the skin. That is why the obese people uh, experienced less cold, right? They don't feel that much cold in comparison with the skinnier people. So, if we talk about the chemical properties of triglyceride, first is hydrolysis. When we add, when we react the triglyceride with the water molecule, 3 molecule of water, then it produces cholesterol and 3 fatty acids. Next is saponification, the process of hydrolysis of fat by aqueous alkali. Okay, look at this, the reaction. When we do the reaction of triglyceride with the 3 molecule of NaOH, then it yields 1 molecule of cholesterol and the salt of fatty acid, which is called soap. Okay, here this is the sodium palmitate. This reaction is called a saponification. Next, hydrogenation. This is a process of adding hydrogen atoms to a unsaturated fats. Unsaturated means it contains one or more than one double bonds in its structure. So when we add the hydrogen molecules, that will be attached to the carbon having double bonds in its structure and forms a single bond carbon. Okay, so that will be producing a saturated fat. Next, halogenation. Halogenation is just simpler, like we do the hydrogenation, we add in the place of hydrogen the halogen molecules. Halogens are chlorine, fluorine, iodine. So in this example, we have taken linoleic acid and we react the iodine molecules that will be attached to the double bond, carbon having a double bond, and form a saturated or halogenated product. Now, fifth is rancidity. Rancidity is a term generally used to denote unpleasant odor and flavors in foods, resulting from deterioration in the fat or oil portion of food. Okay, basically, it occurred due to the oxidation. Okay, very quickly when exposed to air, moisture, and light. But it can also occur by the hydrolyzation. Okay, in the presence of bacterial life. Now, triglyceride is clear, I guess. Moving on the fatty acids, the classification of fatty acids are based on two types. First is chemical requirement and nutritional requirement. So now we are discussing a based on chemical requirement classification. First is saturated fatty acid. If there are only single bonds between neighboring carbon, look at this structure. Okay, there is a single bond present throughout the structure, right? So it is called a saturated fatty acid. Most animals' fats are considered saturated fat. Due to their chemical structure, saturated fats have a solid consistency. As I've already told you, the fats are called at room temperature. If they are in solid form, then they are be calling a fat. Okay. So have a solid consistency at room temperature, and such as canola and olive oil, soybean, rapeseed, these are the examples of a saturated fatty acid. They can be acquired from a meat, egg, cocoa, and nuts, are primarily rich in palmitic and stearic acid, which are the example of saturated fatty acids. So next is unsaturated fatty acid. When the hydrocarbon chain has a double bond. Look at the structure. When it has a double bond in its structure, that will be called a unsaturated fatty acid, as it has a fewer hydrogen comparison with the saturated fatty acids. So unsaturated fat can be again subdivided into two categories, that is mono unsaturated and polyunsaturated. Monounsaturated fat contain only one double bond in its structure. Please keep that in mind. And whereas polyunsaturated fat contains more than one double bond in its structure. So unsaturated fats have a liquid consistency at room temperature. Examples are oils from avocado, nuts, and vegetable oils. So this is the example of unsaturated fatty acid. This is a cis, okay, because of its presence of a atom which is on a same planet, right? And this is present on a alternate. This will be called a trans. Okay. Next, the classification based on a nutritional requirement, which is essential fatty acid and non-essential fatty acid. The body cannot make or manufacture nutrients, which is called essential. So we have to take that from the outside for our diet. We should include it in the our diet. So examples are linoleic acid and linolenic acid. Next is non-essential fatty acid. They already produce in our body when you eat lipids. Okay. Then pancreatic enzyme break dietary fat into fatty acid molecule and are absorbed into small intestine to then be used by the body. And the body can also synthesize some fatty acid from proteins and carbohydrate also. The example are arachidonic acid, omega-3, and eicosapentaenic acid, which is also omega-3. Next is the structure of cholesterol, right? This is a very important part of this unit, so you should keep that in your mind. The structure of cholesterol is a sterol. It is an organic compound in a form of lipid. Okay, this is a form of lipid. It is also a structural part of animal cell membrane that all animal cells can biosynthesize. Okay. Cholesterol is basically a waxy substance that is present in blood plasma and in all animal tissue. Chemically, if we talk about the cholesterol is an organic compound belonging to a steroid family. It contains a steroid nucleus in its structure. The molecular formula will be C27H46O. If we talk about its state, it is a white crystalline substance that is odorless and tasteless. I've already included the properties of cholesterol in a tabular form. So look at this. The molecular formula is C27H46. Molecular mass is 386.64 gram per mole. Melting point is in range 148 to 150 degrees Celsius. Boiling point is 360 degrees Celsius. Density is 1.052. Solubility is soluble in acetone, benzene, ether, hexane. Okay, so cholesterol, if we talk about the importance, is essential to life. It is a primary component of your membrane that surrounded each cell and is the starting material or an intermediate compound from which the body synthesizes bile acids, steroid hormones, and vitamin D. Okay, so this is a precursor for the formation of steroid hormones also. Cholesterol circulates in the bloodstream and is synthesized by the liver and several other organs. Next, structure you can see here, it has three parts, right? First is steroid nucleus. That is why it is in a class of the steroid molecules. It contains 4 rings, 3 6-member and 1 5-member. Okay, this is a hydrocarbon side chain and this is the hydroxyl group which is attached to a ring of steroid nucleus. Okay, so chemical formula I have already discussed with you. It contains 27 atoms of carbon, 46 atoms of hydrogen and 1 atom of oxygen in its structure. So central steroid nucleus, which is here, of 4 hydrocarbon rings, okay, which are hydrogen and carbon atom which are with a circular arrangement. A hydrocarbon tail, this one, a chain of hydrogen and carbon atom at the end of a molecule, a hydroxyl group here, which is one hydrogen atom bonded to one oxygen atom. The 4 hydrocarbon rings join together in the middle of the compound, the hydrocarbon tail attached to one end and the hydroxyl group attached to the other end. So, both the sterol nucleus and hydrocarbon chain do not mix with water. So, this structure cannot travel through the bloodstream alone. For this reason, the cholesterol combine with protein to create a lipoprotein, which can travel through the blood to reach cells that need them. Okay, this is the importance here that is shown in this point is of lipoprotein. Why they are important? They are important to transport the triglyceride and cholesterol to their destiny. Okay, destination. So, function of cholesterol is, people generally believe cholesterol is harmful. It has several important roles also. Okay, a cell membrane component. First point, the cell membrane. Okay, which protects your cell organelles. Okay, cholesterol is an important part of the cell membrane structure. It changes the fluid in the membrane, which can affect the internal cell environment. A digestive aid. Cholesterol is a component of bile salt. The digestive system uses this to absorb fat-soluble vitamin A, B, E, and K. A precursor for important bodily substance. The body uses cholesterol to make vitamin D, steroidal hormone, cortisol, which helps the body to respond through the stress. Reproductive system hormones such as estrogen, testosterone, Cholesterol also plays a role too in the immune system and brain synapses also. These are point of contact between nerve cell and the brain. Now, function of lipids. What are the function of lipids? Fat in food serve as an energy source with high caloric density, adds texture, taste, and contribute to satiety. So first point is energy storage. Excess energy from the food we eat is digested and incorporated into adipose tissue or fat tissue. Most of the energy required by the human body is provided by carbohydrate and lipids. In fact, 30 to 70% of the energy used during rest, which comes from a fat. Okay. Next is regulating and signaling. Lipids are part of cell membrane structure, which helps cell membrane fluidity and flexibility. So, triacylglycerol control the body internal climate, which is stored in the adipose tissue. Okay, with the goal of maintaining a constant temperature throughout your body. Those who don't have enough fat in their bodies tend to feel cold sooner, that I've already discussed in previous point also. So it also helps to body produce and regulate hormone. For example, adipose tissue secretes the hormone leptin, which regulates appetite. More specifically, in the brain, lipids are focal to brain activity and structure, and in function, they help from nerve, cell membrane, insulate neuron, facilitate the signaling of electrical impulse, and etc. It produces insulation, right? Two type of fat are in our body, which are visceral, subcutaneous. Visceral fat surrounds vital organs such as the kidney, liver, okay, heart. Subcutaneous fat or fat underneath the skin insulates the body from extreme temperature and helps keep the internal climate under control. So next is transporting. Fat-soluble nutrients are important for good health, exhibit a variety of function. As I've already discussed, the vitamin A, D, E, K are transported by the lipoprotein, which is called a chylomicron, right? As it cannot transfer by its own, so we need a lipoprotein to carry these substances to their destination point. Thank you so much for your patiently listening.